What you're about to hear will shatter everything you thought you knew about death and what lies beyond. Carl Gustav Jung, one of the most brilliant minds in human history, died for 8 minutes. But that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is what he saw on the other side and the terrifying message he brought back that could change your life forever. Picture this. It's 1944. Jung, the father of analytical psychology, lies dying in a hospital bed. His heart has stopped. Medical equipment flatlines. Doctors frantically work to revive him. But Jung? Jung is no longer there. His consciousness has separated from his body, and he's floating above the earth, witnessing something so incredible, so impossibly detailed, that when he described it decades later, it would predict space travel before humans had even left the atmosphere. But here's where it gets truly chilling. As Jung floats in this cosmic void, he encounters a massive stone temple suspended in space, and standing at its entrance, his dead friend, his deceased doctor, who delivers a message so profound and terrifying that Jung would spend the rest of his life trying to understand its implications. "You have no right to leave," the figure declares with unmistakable authority. "Your time has not yet come." What Jung witnessed during those 8 minutes of clinical death wasn't just a hallucination. It wasn't a dream. It was so vivid, so absolutely real, that this man of science, this skeptical genius who had devoted his life to understanding the rational mind, would later state with absolute certainty the visions and experiences were utterly real. There was nothing subjective about them. And the revelations he brought back, they would forever change how we understand consciousness, death, and the terrifying possibility that our earthly existence is just the beginning of something far more extraordinary and unimaginable. This remarkable and deeply personal encounter with what appeared to be the threshold between life and death positioned Jung as an unwitting pioneer in the exploration of consciousness beyond conventional scientific boundaries. Prior to this profoundly transformative episode, Carl Gustav Jung had already established himself as an absolutely formidable force in the rapidly evolving field of analytical psychology. Having meticulously constructed a reputation as a brilliant psychiatrist, an innovative theorist, and a relentless explorer of the human unconscious, academic colleagues and patients alike consistently acknowledged that he possessed an extraordinarily rare combination of scientific rigor and intuitive insight, lending substantial credibility to even his most unconventional observations and theories. As for Jung himself, he frequently emphasized that his lifelong fascination with the enduring mysteries of human consciousness and spiritual experiences had initially emerged during his earliest childhood years. Even as a young boy growing up in the pastoral landscapes of Switzerland, he demonstrated an uncanny sensitivity to what he described as the numinous qualities of existence, those inexplicable moments when the ordinary world seemed to shimmer with hidden meaning and profound significance. This early predisposition toward the mystical and the unexplained inevitably guided him toward a career dedicated to understanding the deepest and most enigmatic aspects of the human mind and soul. In 1944, at the age of 68, Jung suffered a massive heart attack that brought him perilously close to the ultimate threshold of mortality. Medical professionals attending to his care harbored serious doubts about his chances of survival, and for several harrowing weeks, his life hung precariously in the balance. It was during this critical period, while his physical body lay seemingly helpless and vulnerable, that Jung experienced what he would later describe as the most significant and illuminating adventure of his entire existence. The vision that unfolded during these crucial moments was so vivid, so remarkably detailed, and so profoundly meaningful that it continued to influence his psychological theories and spiritual understanding for the remainder of his distinguished life. Jung vividly recalled the extraordinary sequence of events that transpired during his brush with death. "I had reached the outermost limit," he later wrote, with characteristic precision and eloquence. "And I do not know whether I was in a dream or an ecstasy. At any rate, extremely strange things began to happen. In his remarkably detailed account, he described how his consciousness seemed to separate entirely from his failing physical form, rising gradually until he found himself suspended high above the Earth's surface, observing our planet from an impossible celestial vantage point. The experience was simultaneously terrifying and exhilarating, filling him with an indescribable sense of liberation from the ordinary constraints of mortal existence. From this ethereal perspective, Jung reported seeing the Earth as a magnificent blue sphere suspended in the infinite darkness of space, bathed in the most glorious and radiant light he had ever witnessed. The vision was so breathtakingly beautiful and overwhelmingly significant that it moved him to tears, even years later when he attempted to describe it to others. He noted with scientific precision that this cosmic perspective occurred decades before humanity had actually achieved space flight, making his description remarkably prophetic and adding an additional layer of mystery to his extraordinary experience. As his otherworldly journey continued, Jung found himself approaching what he described as a massive stone structure floating majestically in the vast emptiness of space. This architectural marvel appeared to be carved from a single enormous block of dark rock, and it seemed to pulse with an ancient and profound energy that drew him inexorably forward. The entrance to this mysterious edifice was guarded by a figure Jung immediately recognized as his longtime friend and family doctor, who had recently passed away in the physical world. This beloved physician appeared to Jung not in his familiar earthly form, but transformed into what the great psychologist described as his primal form, radiating wisdom and authority that seemed to encompass the accumulated knowledge of countless lifetimes. The doctor's message to Jung was both startling and deeply significant. "You have no right to leave," the figure declared with unmistakable authority and compassion. "Your time has not yet come. You must return and continue your work among the living." These words resonated through Jung's consciousness with the force of absolute truth, carrying with them an undeniable sense of cosmic purpose and divine mandate. The encounter filled Jung with a profound understanding that his earthly mission remained incomplete, that there were still essential contributions he was destined to make to humanity's understanding of the psyche and the deeper mysteries of existence. Reluctantly, Jung felt himself being drawn back toward his physical body, experiencing what he described as an almost gravitational pull that grew stronger as he approached the material world. The transition from that exalted spiritual state back to ordinary consciousness was jarring and deeply disappointing. "I would never have imagined," he later confessed, "that any such experience was possible. It was not a product of imagination. The visions and experiences were utterly real. There was nothing subjective about them." This emphatic declaration from a man renowned for his analytical precision and scientific skepticism carries extraordinary weight, suggesting that Jung had indeed encountered something far beyond the ordinary boundaries of human experience. Following his miraculous recovery from what medical professionals had considered a certainly fatal condition, Jung found that his perspective on life, death, and human consciousness had been permanently and profoundly altered. The vision had provided him with what he described as unshakable evidence that human awareness extends far beyond the physical limitations of the brain and body. He became increasingly convinced that consciousness itself represents a fundamental aspect of the universe, existing independently of material form and continuing its evolution through realms and dimensions that our ordinary senses cannot perceive or comprehend. This transformative experience led Jung to develop even more sophisticated theories about what he termed the collective unconscious, that vast repository of shared human experiences and archetypal patterns that seem to transcend individual minds and cultural boundaries. He began to theorize that during his near-death journey, he had actually accessed these deeper layers of universal consciousness, encountering wisdom and knowledge that belonged not to any single individual, but to the entire human species across all of history. Jung's chilling vision also provided him with disturbing glimpses of future events that would unfold in the physical world. During his otherworldly experience, he reported receiving impressions of massive global conflicts, technological developments that seemed impossible at the time, and profound shifts in human consciousness that would gradually transform civilization itself. Many of these prophetic insights, according to Jung's later writings, began manifesting in reality with unsettling accuracy, adding yet another mysterious dimension to his already extraordinary encounter with the beyond. The great psychologist also described meeting other beings during his journey, entities that appeared to be human souls who had completed their earthly incarnations and now existed in what he termed a state of pure being. These encounters provided Jung with profound insights into the nature of human development and spiritual evolution, suggesting that our earthly lives represent merely one stage in a far more extensive and continuing journey of consciousness through multiple dimensions of existence. Perhaps most significantly, Jung's vision convinced him that death itself represents not an ending, but rather a transformation, a graduation from one level of existence to another, far more expansive and meaningful reality. The unconscious psyche believes in life after death, he wrote with characteristic directness, and his personal experience had provided him with what he considered irrefutable evidence supporting this ancient human intuition. Jung frequently emphasized that his encounter with the other side had taught him that our familiar physical universe constitutes only the most superficial layer of a far more complex and magnificent cosmic reality. He argued that those who limit their understanding to purely material explanations are like individuals examining the surface of a vast ocean while remaining completely unaware of the incredible depths that lie beneath. According to Jung, all consciousness is ultimately interconnected, forming an infinite web of awareness that transcends the apparent boundaries of individual minds and separate identities. The distinguished psychologist also noted that his otherworldly experience had provided him with enhanced intuitive abilities that persisted long after his return to ordinary consciousness. He found himself increasingly sensitive to the deeper psychological currents flowing beneath the surface of human interactions, and his therapeutic work took on new dimensions of insight and of effectiveness. Patients began reporting that sessions with Jung felt somehow different, more profound and transformative than conventional psychotherapy, as if he were accessing sources of wisdom that extended far beyond his personal knowledge and training. According to Jung's detailed accounts, the realm he had glimpsed during his near-death experience operated according to entirely different principles than our material world. Time seemed to function in ways that defied ordinary understanding, with past, present, and future appearing to exist simultaneously in a kind of eternal present moment. Space, too, seemed fluid and responsive to consciousness itself, expanding and contracting according to the observer's spiritual development and understanding. Jung consistently maintained that his extraordinary journey had revealed to him the fundamental purpose of human existence, which he came to understand as the gradual awakening and expansion of consciousness through countless experiences across multiple dimensions of reality. Each individual life, he argued, represents a unique and irreplaceable contribution to this cosmic process of awareness becoming more fully aware of itself through the vehicle of conscious beings like ourselves. The great explorer of the human psyche concluded that his chilling vision had provided him with the most important message he would ever receive, a revelation that transformed not only his understanding of psychology and human nature, but his entire approach to living and dying. The privilege of a lifetime, Jung declared with deep conviction, is to become who you truly are. And his otherworldly experience had shown him that this true self extends far beyond the temporary boundaries of any single physical incarnation. We warmly invite you to share in the comments below whether you or anyone you know has personally encountered phenomena of this profound and transformative sort. contributing to our collective understanding of these enduring mysteries. And please don't forget to leave a like and enthusiastically click on the notification bell so you don't miss any new fascinating videos delving into these extraordinary topics. Wishing everyone many more years of health, happiness, and continued exploration of the deepest questions that define our existence. Dear friends, thank you for watching to the very end of this compelling exploration into Carl Jung's extraordinary encounter with the beyond. If these profound insights into one of history's greatest minds and his chilling glimpse into the mysteries of consciousness after death have genuinely sparked your curiosity and ignited your desire for deeper understanding, we wholeheartedly encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Together, as a growing community of seekers and explorers, we will continue delving into the most profound questions about the fundamental nature of existence, consciousness, and the hidden realms that may await us all. It is truly never too late to discover new perspectives and courageously explore these ancient mysteries that continue to challenge our understanding of reality itself.